Very excited about this weekend. We get a chance to wrestle Minnesota in our place. We're having a 10 a.m. start on Friday. I think that's kind of unique, but it's not really unique for wrestling when we start to hit the tournament season, the Big Tens and the NCAA. So it'll be great to start at 10 a.m. And then we hit the road for Northwestern on Sunday. And excited to compete. You know, that's been our theme all year, is making sure our guys are just very grateful to compete. So two big opportunities. Minnesota's ranked 10th in the country, and we're excited to get back on track after a long, crazy week last week.
First question from Alex.
Hi, Chris. Having a week off, or even more than that, until this Friday, good, bad, a little bit of both, having kind of a start and stop with just how Michigan was shut down for a little while?
Yeah, actually, it's been great for us. As everybody knows, we didn't get into our facility till very, very, very late. And we've had a very, very abbreviated season. So we took the last 4 days and really trained. We had a mini training cycle where we could actually, wrestle for a long time and get guys in a little better shape and do something physically to break their bodies down, knowing that we had a long time to recover before Minnesota. So it was great to get that in the middle of the season. You really sometimes really struggle to get that in the middle of a Big Ten season. And I'm just excited that we were able to do that.
Question from Brian Pozick.
Chris, how have you seen, the individuals improve? You're looking ahead to the NCAAs, trying to get as many athletes into that tournament as possible. But how have you seen over the last several weeks the individual improvement from your club?
It's been amazing, really. It's like anything else. Practice is practice. You can evaluate and look at practice, but until they get out there and compete, it's hard to see improvement. And, we only have, 4 or 5 matches to really evaluate these guys. So I know our team is getting better. We had a little hiccup against Penn State, but there's a lot of variables to that. But each match, our team has been getting better and better. And, even individually, they've been getting better and better. And, like I said, there's a lot of guys in that lineup that have never wrestled before or put the singlet on. So it's great. I still think we're going to see the best Wisconsin team towards the end of the year.
Question from Zach Hanley.
Hey, Coach. You mentioned that 10 a.m. start kind of goes with the tournament stuff, but kind of goes back to the high school duels, right? Saturdays and Friday mornings.
Yeah, I didn't hear the rest of your question, Zach.
Does it kind of remind you of going back to the high school days for your wrestlers too, a little bit?
Yeah, you know what? It's going to be really cool, I think. We're used to getting up early, right? Wrestling's an early sport. So, these guys are used to it. We train in the mornings. Our actual practices are in the mornings. So they're going to be used to it. It's actually going to be right along our normal schedule. And, they're going to revert back to high school, those dual meets and those tournaments and things like that, Saturday mornings, you're up at 5 o'clock, you're hopping on a bus and you're driving and weighing in. So luckily we don't have to do that kind of stuff. We can just, roll out of their apartments and get right over Camp Randall and get ready to roll.
Brian Pozick, you had a follow-up?
Yeah, I know Evan Wick is preparing for the Olympics. You know what this is all about. So what type of advice do you provide this young man as he tries to reach, maybe his ultimate goal?
Yeah, Evan's been doing an unbelievable job of actually traveling the country and competing. He's actually competing this week down in North Carolina at what they're called the America's Cup. And you know what? It's a grind. It's a long grind, and you're going to be wrestling against men that have been dreaming about this for a long, long time. And it's more about being a professional in your training, and it's more about making sure you do things the right way, but making sure your body stays right. So, and really, it's also about being safe. We got to make sure we get Evan, just like our NCAA athletes, to the end result, safe and sound. Well, we want to make sure he shows up at the Olympic trials healthy. Yeah. And it's been a challenge in that aspect, trying to get him, the way he's traveling around the country to keep him healthy and safe and making sure he's doing all those right things. But he's going to compete a lot. He's got a competition, North Carolina this week, and he's got a competition back here in Madison, February 24th, I believe. And so we're excited for Evan. He's made a ton of progress. I can't wait to get that W back on his chest next year. But he's gotten a lot better in this year off.
When are the trials, the Olympic trials?
Well, they were supposed to be April 8th through the 10th at Penn State, and I just got a note today that they're changing venues. So it's going to be sometime in April. Yeah, that USA Wrestling is seeing other places open up, and they want fans. and Penn State was not going to have fans. So I think it's going to be in Iowa, Nebraska. I'm hearing something that's kind of open a little bit where they can get some fans in there.
Yeah. What are his chances, do you think, of making Team USA?
They're as good as what Evan believes they are, right? He's got one of the toughest weight classes in the country. He's got, Olympic champion Jordan Burroughs, 5-time world champion, Olympic Burroughs. He's got Kyle Dake, 2-time world champion. But you know what? This is a sport that if you believe you can do it, anything is possible. And, if you're going in with the right mindset, his training is right. I've seen a lot, way bigger upsets than Evan Wick making the Olympic team. So, I'm in his corner. I think he can do it.